backyard chickens for about a year now. I've actually also raised ducks as well, but tonight I will actually be talking just about poultry and basically chicken nutrition. Just a little bit of background about myself. I actually work for Ranch Bay Feeds, which is a livestock feed mill. I work in the retail store there, selling feed to everyone. About a year, or exactly a year ago, I bought my first flock of chickens. Honestly, going into it with not knowing too much, I like to start preparing people about the requirements for baby chickens all the way up till they start laying. A little bit of background, we'll start with talking about the digestive system of a chicken. The esophagus obviously is where the food and water goes down. An interesting little fact about that is that chickens actually use gravity to drink water. That's why they raise their heads after they drink, after they put water in their mouth. Going down from there, we have the crop. That is basically the food storage for chickens. It's more of a, basically they fill it up with their feed. So when they're in a fight or flight instance, they can fly away and they'll still have feed and they're not, in the middle of eating and stuff, they'll have food to keep them nourished. After it goes from the crop, it goes into the preventriculus, which is actually called the true stomach for a chicken. After that, it goes into the gizzard. The gizzard is actually where their food actually gets, basically, since chickens obviously don't have teeth, their food gets ground down in there, so later on it goes intestines for the largest surface area of feed. One of the things that chickens do is they'll eat sand or grit, which is basically small rocks, which is actually what basically churns up their food. After that goes into their intestines, where obviously nutrients and all that is absorbed, and then it goes out through their cloaca. An interesting little thing about that is they actually only have one exit, one opening and one exit. Another name for cloaca would be the vent. As babies, if you don't keep that clean, they can basically get backed up and all the toxin stuff, pretty much stays in there and can kill them. Kind of moving on, we're going to talk about the 6 essential nutrients for chickens and pretty much any living animal or person. The first one is water. Nothing can really go without water. Carbohydrates, which is your starches, sugars, and fiber. Your lipids, which are going to be your fats. Proteins for the muscles. Minerals. Vitamins. And then going on from there, talking about baby chicks, which is 0 to 3 weeks old. This is when they're brand new, just come out of the egg. Depending on which type of chicken we're talking about, broilers, which are going to be your meat chickens, and then pullets, which are going to be your egg layers later on. Broilers require 23% protein. Their requirement is a little bit higher because they're going to be growing so fast. They basically need to get more protein to grow. Their fats can be the same requirement though, at 2.5% protein. With pullets, they really only need 20% because you don't really necessarily want them to grow too quickly. They need to grow at their own pace. On average, they'll eat about 1/3 of a pound to a pound per week, per chick, I should say. After the 3-week stage, it goes on to 3 to 7 weeks. At this point, both broilers and pullets are both going to be on an 18 to 20% protein diet. Fat's going to still be the same at 2.5. Their intake will increase from, like I said, that 1/3 of a pound to a pound per week for chicks, up to about 1 pound to 2 pounds per week. After the 3 to 7 weeks, talking specifically about broilers, 7 to 12 weeks is going to be their finishing stage, where they pretty much gain everything they need to before you hit the bucket, I guess, is maybe the right word to say. At this point, their protein is going to actually be about an 18-20%, which is the same as a little bit earlier. Their fat actually increases to a 3% fat. make sure, get plenty of fat on the chicken. Their intake will be about 4 pounds per chicken per week, which is a big increase because you're basically doubling their increase. One thing that I like to say about broilers is actually when they're young, from their young till they start, getting slaughter basically, they, um, they basically need to get their food taken away at night because they will tend to overeat, which isn't good for them. Basically, they need a little bit of a break within there, so a lot of people take away their food at night. Moving on into laying hens, which are going to be your egg layers. Their protein is only going to be a 16-18% protein, and it's going to be the same throughout the whole thing at 2.5% fat. They will eat about 1 to 2 pounds per week per chicken. They can also, at this point, be put onto either a crumble or mash is what a lot of people like to call it, or they can be put onto pellets. With the pellets, it's not as much waste as the granules, but it really doesn't matter, they're pretty much the same product. And also fed with oyster shell, which oyster shell should be given calcium basically, which actually is going to help within hardening their eggs and keeping them all together. And then throughout the whole chicken life, whether you're talking broilers or laying hens, you actually want to make sure that you're feeding that grit, or they have some source of sand or little pebbles or something, to help break down their feed and actually get the most nutrients out of it. Basically, just kind of to wrap up my presentation, we talked about the whole digestive tract. We've also discussed their requirements, and on some of these slides there's a little bit more information talking about, lysine and methionine and all that. Kind of a little bit more besides going on from here. A lot of people will actually, the laying hens requirement is only a 16-18%, but some people do feed a 20%. Normally when they do that with such a high protein, you would like to dilute it down. A lot of people will feed hen scratch or corn chop. Hen scratch is basically a mix of grains of corn, oats, wheat basically, anything you'd feed to a bird or whatever. A lot of people also like to feed table scraps, lettuce, carrots, tomatoes, they love to eat grass and all that. One thing that you never actually want to feed any of your chickens is avocados. It is actually toxic to chickens, basically. Other than that, they pretty much love to eat everything. Kind of going back, just kind of concluding it. Going through each one of these slides, it gives you a little bit more information, like I said. It's actually a very fun kind of hobby type thing to do. Another thing, with all of these how much they'll actually eat kind of depends also on the breed itself. There are bantams, which are actually small breed chickens. And then there's just the standards. With the bantams, they're actually going to be average probably about 1 pound up to 6 pounds when you get into the standard breeds, which are pretty big. Obviously your smaller ones are going to eat a little bit less. Other than that, that's pretty much it. And, Poultry Nutrition.